Welcome back to the Teams Insider podcast. This week we are talking Microsoft Places with Martin Boam from Microsoft. He takes us through what Places is and what it isn't, gives us some live demos, and we talk a little bit about how AI and Work IQ plays into the Microsoft Places story. Many thanks to Martin for jumping on the show, and also many thanks to Jabra, who are the sponsor of this show. Really appreciate all their support. On with the show. Hey everybody, welcome back. Excited to do this one. This is something Martin presented at the AI Workplace Tour, and I thought it was such a good session that I thought we'd try and get it on a recording. So Martin, welcome back to the show.
Thank you very much. Cheers, Sam.
For those that don't know, a new FY now as well, give us your current role and what you do.
I am still an architect in the Field and Partner Centre of Excellence at Microsoft. So focusing on Teams, Microsoft Places, but more and more spending a lot of time in Copilot land and agents, and more Agent 365. So,
yeah, those decks that we use so often, the update decks around Teams and Copilot, that's some of your team's work, isn't it? That's really useful stuff.
It is, yeah. So what's new CMD, what's new Copilots, those two monthly presentations that I build. Helps me learn, but yeah, I like to share with others.
Nice. Well, thanks. Well, today we're talking Microsoft Places, and you did a good session where you talked through what Microsoft Places is, where the kind of Copilot and AI story works in. And this story's evolved a lot, from launch and over the last year as well. And I guess most critically, Places is now largely included in the core licensing. So that's quite a big change from it being part of Teams Premium, which meant you had to step up a per user license, start taking advantage. A lot of it now is in the core licensing.
Yeah, there's a huge amount of value within the enterprise Teams license now. More and more customer feedback was, well, why do I need Teams Premium to do Places? Or I only want to do desk booking, or I only want to do room booking. And when you look at other solutions, it's a difficult conversation sometimes to have. So, but not just Places that kind of came out of Teams Premium, also some of the events capabilities as well. But I've got a slide on that we can have a quick talk about.
Nice. So where should we start with Places?
Places. So I guess Places is part of the AI-powered workplace. At Microsoft, we're talking about the AI-powered workplace. This is, we say, a holistic solution that allows companies to coordinate productively, modernize intelligently, and optimize proactively as well. And this is across Microsoft Places, Microsoft Teams, and Microsoft 365 Copilot as well. So when you look at the coordinate pillar as part of the AI-powered workplace, this is all about coordinating, bringing people together, streamlining the who, the when, and where employees work, and improving that coordination and booking across flexible workplaces as well. If I go into an office, I can set a work plan. I want to know who's there. I want to make sure that there's value in me going into the office. So that coordination, I think, is more than ever as we're more remote than others, and return to office policies as well. So really important to have that. And then the second part is modernize intelligently. So making these workspaces, whether it's desks, whether it's rooms, bringing in intelligent audio, intelligent video, and leveraging AI, and making sure that we can find these spaces easily, we can see what's in there, and then leveraging the power of AI in audio and video, speaker recognition, making sure these places are intelligent as well. And then the last part of that is optimizing, where work happens, bringing in management, planning insights, adding Copilot.
That's more the admin and facility side of the story. So you've kind of got the ease of booking for the user, and they're using the spaces efficiently in a hybrid way. And then it's like understanding what's going on with the building, with the rooms, who's choosing what and why. We need more of this type or more of that type.
Yeah, and increased visibility of all those types of spaces, how they're being used, if they're not being used, and then some things like auto-releasing spaces that aren't used, and you can make more kind of data-driven decisions and manage, more proactively your workplace or your environment or your spaces. But when we look at some of the foundational components, there is a software side of this. Places is where you work. It's in the flow of work. It's in Outlook. It's in your calendar. It's in Teams. There is a dedicated Places app that you can go and have a look at, and we'll have a look at in a bit more detail. Also extended into peripherals, so bookable desks and devices, and then into Teams rooms as well. So you've got the hardware sensor capabilities of Teams rooms as well, which I think we'll see more and more, where these Teams rooms devices have got sensors and hardware in there to understand the room, the occupancy, and really bringing that into the analytics space as well.
Yeah, this is Microsoft's potential, isn't it? Like you've got Exchange, so you've got all the bookings and all the diarings for lots of organizations. If an organization's got Teams rooms, then that's the intelligence in the room, that's the room system. And then you've got, panels as well. We've got BYOD and desk bookings, which we'll get into, and kind of a USB-C type understanding of which desk you're at. So it's kind of bringing all that together to maximize the user experience.
Yeah, totally. And there's a lot of the device partners and OEMs either have got sensors in the devices or external sensors and capabilities as well to integrate into Places and into the analytics as well. The other thing that's really important is Places brings location intelligence into Microsoft Graph. So I think more and more we'll see this, particularly with Work IQ and bringing spatial data and location context as well. So in terms of spatial data, it's bringing all your buildings, floors, rooms, and desks into that Places directory in a hierarchy. And then what we say is the location context is also your workplace presence. Which is the ability to understand, where your colleagues are and let them know where you are as well. And then you may kind of recently GA was kind of the location presence using Wi-Fi, so you don't have to manually check in.
Yeah, I'm so glad to have that back. Like we had that back in the link days way back, where like based on subnet we knew where you were automatically, and it's taken all this time to come back into Teams. So, and it's very, very opt-in. Like it's opt-in for the admins, it's opt-in for the users. But if you choose to have it, it can update Teams to say, yes, Tom is in the office, down to on this floor or in this room, depending on how your Wi-Fi is laid out.
Yeah, and then bringing this information into Work IQ will bring more ability into Copilot, where you could ask Copilot, who is in the office, who is near me. So again, empowering sort of Copilot to have more context. What's the best days to go into the office? You could ask, and more functionality we're bringing into the chat interface. And I've got a demo of that as well in terms of scheduling. Nice. So if we move on from there, there's some location intelligent North Star principles, but really important to kind of meet the employee where they are to enable this coordination, streamline how people can search and reserve spaces, and create that connection and collaboration with workplace presence as well. So these things, really important. I think we've touched on those just as we've been discussing there. So we mentioned licensing, so effective April 1st, that seems so long ago now, but it really isn't, is it really? But this is where we made some changes to the Teams Premium license. So when we look at Microsoft Places, particularly this affects Microsoft Places, where some of the end user functionality that was tied into Teams Premium. So if you didn't have a Teams Premium license, you couldn't use some of these functionality. Will become available to, we do say most user licenses there, but it's the Teams Enterprise licenses. And there is a asterisk at the bottom of which ones it's included in. But yeah, Places Finder and the Places app available to user licenses from April
pretty
1st.
much anybody in business or enterprise is going to have this included. The disclaimers are for the kind of weird edge case licenses, aren't they? This is pretty much in there.
Yeah, bringing the Places Finder was bringing that map-based experience. Some of the stuff that's really good. We'll have a look. Places Explorer, for example, where you see the maps. So on the second one, kind of bringing the map-based experiences that are really where Places really shines is being able to see a map, look at desks, look at rooms, making that available as well. So Places unbundled from Teams Premium, licensed via a shared space license. So this is a big one. In terms of desks, you couldn't really have Microsoft Places as a focus as a desk booking solution, but customer feedback when Places was released is they'd like to use Microsoft Places as for only desk booking or only rooms or both.
And so this is where the licensing works now. So all the user features, or most of the user features, are in the core license. But if you want to have a desk be bookable or a space be bookable, you're now licensing that room or that desk, and it's 4 desks to 1 shared space license, isn't it? So kind of effectively $2 a desk a month, but $8 for a shared space license.
Yeah, on the next slide, if we'll jump into this, is a little bit more detail on the shared space license side of it, if you're interested in particularly in the desk booking. But we used to have the team shared device license, that has been renamed. It's now the shared spaces license. Gives you those 4 desks or spaces, and add space management capabilities as well for desk booking, space management, and analytics as well. But a lot more value added into the Teams Enterprise license that most customers already have. So in terms of enabling more people to use Microsoft Places and get more value out of it, if you've got that existing Teams Enterprise license, which I think was a good move, and a lot of people were asking for this.
Yeah, it makes sense, doesn't it? Most organizations have more people than spaces to book, so the economic incentive now is aligned well. If you have a lot of desks and you want desk booking by the licenses, if you have a lot of rooms, you'll be covering those with licenses, but otherwise you get a lot of value out of this included in that core.
Yeah. So look, I mentioned the AI-powered workplace, but when we look at sort of aligning those Places experience into the AI-powered workplace, these are some of the things we'll touch on. But from room reservations and signals, we've mentioned those. So intelligent reservations, being able to check in to locations and auto-release rooms, for example. If somebody doesn't go into a room or that room's not being used, you can auto-release it and make it available for somebody else to be able to book, because there's a lot of meeting rooms that are booked but not necessarily always used, and that rolls into the occupancy signals, room health. Then we've mentioned desk reservations and hot desking and checking into desks, analytics, so being able to have sort of Places and spaces analytics, and management as well. So when Microsoft Places was first released, it was all PowerShell based, but there is a dedicated admin portal now where you can go and configure Microsoft Places from as well. So if we dive into some of these as we go through, but as an introduction, Microsoft Places is an integral part of Teams and Outlook and the calendar. Its Places is in the flow of work, for example, of where people are. So I can.
Yeah, this is quite an important point, isn't it? Because you're not necessarily needing to go to a new app or a new experience. Like if you're already booking in Outlook with the new Outlook calendar, or in Teams with the new calendaring, you get the Places features coming through to that experience.
Yeah, and you can set a work location. We'll mention what that is in a moment. But yeah, I can go in there, go into my Outlook calendar. I can see who's in the office today, where they are. You can hover over sort of contact cards and get presence information, and I can do booking, all within here and show up. Places Finder. I can open up Places Explorer all within Outlook. Same again, I can do that in Teams as well. So, we're not training any new workflows. This is all in the flow of work in Outlook and Teams. So this is one core part of Microsoft Places is coordination. So work plan coordination. So within Outlook, I can go and set my work plan.
What is a work plan? How do you explain that one? Because it sounds very formal. It sounds like a PM coming up with a big project to me.
It's kind of reflecting the intention of where I'll work. For me, I'm mostly remote, so my weeks are mostly remote. But I set my work days with a location, and that's my intention of where I will go and work. I think I can show you that in the demo in here, but yeah, that's what the work plan is, kind of setting up my week of where I'll be.
So just really you're letting your team know what you intend to do for your week, and that can feed into the knowledge base of,
Yeah,
okay, well now I know that Martin's in on a Wednesday. Potentially I might go in on the Wednesday too, because that's when he's intending to be there.
yeah, and then like you said, yeah, I can share that intent with others, and I'm planned to be in London, for example, and people can see when I would be in London. I still need to either do a check, when I get there, I need to check in or have the auto check-in capability or plug in to a desk to actually check me in. But yeah, I can share those signals with other people. Let's move through. So in terms, we'll start with room booking, but this is an example of the Places Finder reservation. So I've got a demo of this, but it gives you, enriched room search and reservations. So all within Outlook when I'm scheduling a meeting, I can come in here, open Places Finder here. Let me see if I can add a pen and cursor. Ooh. Yeah, all within here. So this is Places Finder on the right, all within, scheduling an event in Outlook. I can, if I add images into the directory, I can see images, I can see names. I can also add meta tags in there, so I can quickly see, is that room Teams enabled, for example, and you can get sort of little logos, and you can see occupancy. So all of these really easy and quick, and if you have a Microsoft 365 Copilot license as well, you can do some Copilot magic in here as well.
And that's really nice. Just the images and the metadata. Like again, if you're going to do nothing more than just document all your rooms and the what's available in them equipment wise or facilities wise, that's already a lot of nice additional value for the user, especially when you're booking in somewhere you're not super familiar with. It's like, oh, I get a vague idea of, okay, that room has 2 screens, has a Teams room, and it looks like this. Okay, that's the kind of room I'm looking for.
Yeah, and you can add custom meta tags in there as well for other information that might be relevant for you. But yeah, I mean, first thing I book a room, I often want to know what's it look like, just to gauge information. But just as easy as having a picture in there is super helpful. Again, right in the flow of where I was just scheduling a meeting. The next one to look at, so just on that one, if I go back, that feature there, come on, go back. Yeah, so the Places Finder reservation, this feature added and included, as part of that licensing change on April 1st, you can have this within your Teams Enterprise license. This is Places Explorer. So this is within the Places app. So this is again in Outlook. So you'll see at the top, we're in Outlook, but there's actually a Places app in here. This is Places Explorer. I'll show you this more in the demo, but it's a single space to see your team, your schedule, easily book spaces. It will look at my calendar and it will show on the right here, I have all these meetings. I don't have a room or I don't have a space. Do you want to reserve a space or a room for that meeting? And it's as easy as that. So let's jump in and have a look. So this is a room booking demo. So this was a demo I recorded for the London event. So this is my calendar within here. So this is it within Outlook. I can see my work plan location here. I can see that somebody is in the office here as well. This was a Friday, so this is where I was remote. I'm in London. I've quickly updated myself to being in the office. And you can see here, I can then search for the office and set a location, which I think should be London Paddington. And if I was in the office, I would be able to do that automatically and check in. For this demo, I wasn't. Here you can see I have a meeting on my calendar that I don't have a room booked for. So here I've come in here that I'll be in London. I have a meeting. Do you want a room? And here I can quickly see some conference rooms available. So within here, we don't have a custom image yet uploaded into the London Paddington rooms, but you can see how quick for all my meetings that I have, I can quickly book a room if there's one available. There you can see one that does have a picture in there as well, but I can see occupancy, whether it has audio, video, or its Teams rooms enabled, and then I can book those meetings as quickly as that. Just pretty quick usually I'd be searching through with Outlook, trying to find spaces.
Yeah, just a great big list of names of rooms with no context of like, am I accidentally booking like a 30-person boardroom, or is this like a 4-person?
This is scheduling a new event. So I'm coming in here, the AI-powered workplace recap. Get rid of that typo. I think I invite Michelle into this one. There you can see the email notification from them rooms I just booked. So here, whilst we're in London, what am I going to do next? Yeah, so here I'm using a Copilot feature. So if conflicts arise, let Copilot reschedule the meeting. And I can give it acceptable days and times of when, if this is not available for Michelle, that Copilot could auto reschedule this for me. And then I'm going to add a room.
That's an example of a feature that does require the user to have the Copilot license as well.
Yeah, this is where I've added a room with Copilot, and it's added a Copilot managed room in there. Here I can quickly see other rooms if I want to. Here I've jumped in to Places Finder, and you'll see it at the top in here you've got rebook declined rooms. But again, all from this event scheduling experience. I've got Places Finder, and I can find the rooms. If I do have Copilot, Copilot can do some of that work and rescheduling for me if required. And I think I send that one off, and that's added to my calendar there. This next part's going into the Places app. So this is Places Explorer within Outlook. Here you can see I'm going into the Places app because I think in June I was at Redmond. So here I have a number of meetings at the 1st of June. I'll be in Redmond. So I want to go and search and find a available space in building 3. So here you can see the map experience of Teams. So rooms on the floor, rooms that are available. I can actually see the devices. There's a Logitech Meetup in there, a Teams device, occupancy. I can see a layout of the floor. So even before I've got into building 3 in Redmond, I already have an idea of the floor layout, and obviously I can reserve a space for me to use for a meeting there. So this is sort of scheduling meetings in the future in this one.
Nice. And that's the Places app experience, but it's an app within Outlook essentially.
Outlook or Teams, yeah. In this demo, I'm using it within Outlook.
Yeah.
And I think that's that demo done yet. So I mentioned check-in. So once you set your work plan and you go to a location, in the first demo, I showed that I actually went and checked in, that I was in the office, when I was in London. So Places does work with Teams peripherals. So in this case, this is a bookable desk. I can book that desk in real time by plugging a peripheral at a shared desk. So this is, I walk up to a space, I can connect, and it's reserving that space for me. I actually haven't had to do anything.
Yeah, and there's a mapping behind the scenes here of that device is on that desk. Therefore, when Martin plugs it in, the Teams client is clever enough to go, okay, that maps to that. Therefore, he's picked up this desk.
Yeah, so that's kind of a nice feature of sort of booking desks ad hocly by just plugging into a peripheral. This was the feature we spoke about in terms of automatically updating your work location when connected to Wi-Fi. So this has now gone generally available. I think it was in the latest What's New Teams blog, and I think maybe mentioned at Infocom. But this is the ability to automatically update your work location based on your corporate Wi-Fi that you're connected to. So from what I understand, this is off by default. There is some administration configuration to do to turn this on. And in terms of, there's some Windows settings as well. There is some on the admin and user side.
Yeah, there's a lot of sensitivity around location these days. Funny again, back in the day, we were just doing it for link on all subnets, all Wi-Fi in the enterprise. But these days it has to be admin enabled, so you have to decide you want to do it. And then even if you decide you want to do it, you can't force the users. The users still have to opt in one by one, which is interesting. I would have thought as an enterprise you could say our policy is, but nope, the user has to opt in and say, yes, I agree. And at that point, then it will also set their location based on the Wi-Fi.
Yeah, so I think you can see here that on the contact card, in here, you can see that connected to your organization's network or devices, Alpha Building 1. That's cool. So that is generally available, but does have some configuration. There was a great demo day session recently, and I'll give you a link to that at the end, where I think the product team, Brennan and the team, went through that in a lot more detail. So in terms of desk management, I mentioned the ability to book desks. You can book multiple desk modes, so you can have bookable desks, assigned desks, offline or drop-in desks. So the desk booking experience, very similar to what I've just shown you in Rooms. So again, you can reserve desks within Outlook, within the Places Explorer app as well. We say it's a map-first experience, familiar user experience, supports both individual desks, but also pooled desks as well. So you can see one example here of going through, selecting a desk. This is actually booking a desk in the future across multiple days. So if you know you're going to be in the office across the week, you can plan ahead and book that. Let me just get rid of this. And then finding and booking desks near to colleagues as well. So if you want to sit with or be close to somebody in particular, you can go and search for people. If you want to, and see neighbouring desks, find out where they're planning to sit for a specific day, but each individual retains full control over whether their desk location can be shared with colleagues. So you've got that protection against privacy in there as well, but I think I've got that in a demo that I'll show you. And then multi-desk bookings, so book desks for multiple days at a time, book desks in shorter increments as well. But I think in the demo, which is coming up, you'll see that within here. So here you can see that you can reserve a desk straight from Outlook. It's suggested a desk, or I can browse for more desks. And this is a new desk reservation in that Places Finder experience. So you can see previously used desks. You can have details of the desks as well. This is a desk pool, so you can see that there's 10 of 12 desks available on floor 2. And you can actually see, if people have shared their location, you can actually see where somebody is sitting. You can actually search for them as well. So I think in a moment we'll go up to the top left to search.
And you would just map these out in the same way as you're mapping the rooms out. So you need obviously mapping, and you need to place the desks on the map, and then they become visually available.
Yeah. So I think here is where, I'm going to go search for Matteo. So here I can see Matteo is sitting in another area, but quickly I can see the desks around Matteo, and I could choose to choose and reserve one of those desks instead. But very quickly, again, I haven't had to go back and forward with Matteo. Where are you sitting? What floor are you going to be on? I can quickly see that as well, and then I can reserve that space as needed.
Nice. And this is again, so shared space license, and 4 desks every one license. So you'd have as many desks as you want bookable. You need license cover for those desks.
Yeah. So now in this example, I'm reserving for multiple days. Yeah, I think I apply that. And then it's reserved those desks for me in there. Sending reservation requested. There we go. And then the other demo I've got is, so we're doing more and more with Copilot, Work IQ, and the location intelligence piece. So using Copilot, and this isn't just for places, but the one demo I've got is an example of where I've used it. But leveraging Copilot to keep your calendar up to date, for example, manage meetings, rescheduling as conflicts arise, prepare you for meetings, prep for agendas for meetings. So if you do have a Microsoft 365 Copilot license, you within the chat experience, for example, and within Outlook, you can do a lot more from organising, scheduling, and collaborating. So the demo I've got is sort of using Copilot, I think within Outlook, you can do this in chat as well. Let me just press this. So here I'm in Outlook, I open Copilot. I think I say find me a time to meet with Mario and book a room in London Paddington. So let me see if I can zoom into this bit here. Yeah, so Copilot with Work IQ knows my contacts. It's got Mario's details. It's saw an out of office from Mario. It's also picked up Mario in my team, who I collaborate with. I didn't put his surname at all. Let me just come back. So the user selected slot 1, so I did select a slot there from the scheduling card. The room they want to book. Unfortunately, no rooms are available in London Paddington for that time slot. So I have some more options. We'll try a different time slot with Mario.
And this is because we've got now not just the static location information in there, but it's got access to Work IQ, therefore it's got access to current calendar state for those rooms, so it can understand this is available, this is not available.
Yeah, so it did come back. I'm just trying to find the point where it was. Yeah, so there it says, great news, plenty of rooms available at Friday at 25 to 8 to 8 o'clock in the evening, so mostly when they're available. Best fit for a one-to-one meeting is in the Brixton room, 5-person room on floor 4 with Teams enabled, nice and cosy for a catch-up with Mario. Shall I go ahead and book this? I'll just say to Copilot, yes, book the meeting room, and then Copilot's lining it up. And there you go, all booked. Here's a summary, title, when, room, invitee, and it's done that all within Copilot. Same thing.
That's such a great use case for like a chat-based interface. Like I'd much rather go back and forward on chat to be like, this is how I'm looking to book, this is the type of room I want, like off you go, because it saves scrolling and clicking around trying to find stuff.
Yeah, and likewise, like if I was already in Copilot chat and working with Copilot, I could have had that same conversation there. In this example, I just open Copilot within Outlook. So that's a lot of the user side. This is some of the admin experiences. So this is the kind of Places admin portal. So this has been available for a few months now. But Places admins have more of a user-friendly interface now to view the Places directory data, view buildings, floors, sections, rooms, desks. You can apply the relative filters in here as well. So you see this example with buildings in Washington, Redmond. I'll see if I can zoom in a little bit. Yeah, but you can see here, filter by country, state, city. You can see your buildings, you can see your floors and sections, and do some filtering down there as well. Previously, all PowerShell. There's still PowerShell required for other parts, but this gives you a much more visual experience, even if it's to look at the desk types, from drop-ins to bookable desks that are unavailable. You've quickly got an easier to use experience.
And again, that's in core licensing. Unless you want things to be bookable, then you're obviously licensing for the spaces, but that UI is available to you.
Yeah, and similar admin experience for managing desk modes and assignments, previously all PowerShell based. Now I can look at desks, and then I can change desk mode from being bookable, drop-in, unavailable, assigned. I can assign them permanently to a person, for example. All within a more GUI experience. And then we've got auto release policy analytics. So within here, I can set auto release policies for rooms. So if a space or a room is not used or is not checked in within 10 minutes, it can release that room back. So here I can see a request auto release, action needed. So if I reserve a space, I've had this in the rooms that we use. I get an email, action required. You need to check in that room. If you do have a Teams room enabled device or a panel, that can do check-in, but you can set that in an individual space level to make sure that any spaces that are not used can be released and made available for somebody else to book and use. Because, for example, in the London Paddington office, it's very difficult to find a free space. So this is
So a common ask, isn't it? Like we have good intent to have a big meeting, we've booked it, but actually we just changed the remote and forgot to release the room. So
nice, I don't know if they call them ghost meetings, where like the room's booked but no one's in there. And then you can see from analytics, you can see the room name, floor capacity, the average reservation, average occupancy, and no-shows as well. So again, very useful sort of insights and intelligence that you can get to look at your spaces. This is some sort of the key investments across places for the next 6 to 9 months. So streamlining an intelligent space reservation, we've touched on those, but aligning more desk and room experiences with Copilot, enabling location intelligence experiences, so bringing more of that spatial data and location awareness to the forefront of Copilot, and more enhanced extensibility management experiences as well. So I think when we delivered this was a few months ago, so some of this is already in flight, some mostly already delivered, but definitely go and check out the roadmap for more. But a lot more in the extensibility area and management.
Nice. Oh, thanks for taking us through that, Martin. That's so good to get some actual demos of how it's coming together. I think the key thing to get across is, again, a lot of this is in the core licensing now, so you can extract some good value out of this just by getting your rooms mapped in the calendar and having all that detail and metadata in there. And then if you want to go further into making things like desk bookings beyond just rooms, you can add those extra licenses for desk bookings.
Yeah, I've got some resources if you want to get started to have a look at that. So there is some configuration and design considerations in terms of getting the places directory correct, so you've got the right buildings and the maps and the floors and the sections. So there is a great places deployment guide. So Matt Slonker in engineering built the places deployment guide, and it has an example deployment, I think, for one of the buildings that Microsoft used to have that is no longer there, but we reused the maps and the locations, and you can get a full sort of deployment step-by-step guide with maps as well. So that's a great resource to download and have a look at as well. And there's a lot of partners for Microsoft Places as well. So some partners can help you with the design, the deployment, also with the mapping. So if you do need some help, there is a Places partner directory as well. There's a few on the top there, but they can help you with discovery, advisory, deployment as well. And some of the other key resources, if you are particularly interested in Places, one thing I would call out is the Places office hours. So that's weekly on Thursdays, and there is a monthly demo day as well. So if you want to see more demos directly from the engineering team and the product team at Microsoft, definitely check those out and go to those.
Yeah, really good engagement from that product team. They're really keen to answer questions and take feedback. So those are some great sessions.
Yeah, and usually the recordings are available as well to download, and I think they make most of the content available as well. So there's a lot of resources available to go and help you on your Places journey. I think, that is everything. So
nice. Oh, thanks, Dave, for your mind. It's great to see the demos. We'll share all the links on the comments below as well. So if you want to find any of those resources, we'll share all the links as well.
Yeah, well, thank you very much. Thank you. Glad you enjoyed the session in London. Hopefully that gives you a bit more, everyone else some more insights as well.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thanks, Mike. We'll have you back on the show again soon. But for now, see you whenever we next cross paths.
Yeah, hopefully soon. See you, mate.
Cheers.